Baz News came out with a very interesting article a couple of days ago highlighting this very question. Are Sikh politicians delivering? It is a very good question. So I just want to give a quick, I'll quickly summarise basically what's covered in this article. It concludes that having Sikh representatives in high-ranking government positions, obviously across North America and here in Europe and down under, has reached its limit as a substitute for actual community power. It also says Sikh politicians are often forced to follow rigid party lines. I mean, how often have I talked about that here in the UK? And it's preventing them from naming or challenging the Indian state's role in foreign interference, for example, and transnational oppression, because sort of bigger issues overshadow their very specific issues. And a major critique is that when Sikh communities face threats or intimidation, representative politicians often fail to identify the actual source, obviously the Indian government, instead having to use vague statements about foreign interference, of course to avoid upsetting diplomatic or trade relations. Again, very pertinent to what we've seen here in the UK, Canada in recent times. And it also highlights that anti-Sikh sentiment over the last year or two is not just simple racism. It has become a coordinated thing, a coordinated issue, phenomenon produced at the intersection, this link up we're seeing between white supremacy, the far right extremism, far right nationalism, and of course the Hindutva nationalism echoed across in India. And the article points to the selective enforcement of laws and the use of sanctions. And it uses the UK sanctions against Sikh individuals without trial, which I've highlighted as an example. The article points these as examples of how Western states are now prioritising trade with India over, of course, the civil rights of our own Sikh citizens. And then it concludes that Western governments, specifically citing dear old Starmer's government here in the UK, and trade missions likewise, Carney's trade missions to Delhi, being portrayed as willing to trade Sikh lives for economic deals with India. In other words, it's dollars over human rights.